All right, if we can have your attention here in the Media Center, we will now continue with our media availabilities here at Daytona International Speedway for the Coke 0400 with Ricky Stenhouse Jr., driver of the number 17 Fifth Third Bank Ford. Ricky, Fifth Third Bank ran a What Drives You Small Business contest during Small Business Week. Can you tell us a little bit about the logo that's featured on your deck lid this weekend?
Yeah, it's cool. They got a lot of people to vote and send in small businesses across their 10-state footprint, and they got voted on, and they got it down to 5 finalists, and then the public then again voted and picked a winner. This winner is Healthy Smiles of Indiana. It's a nonprofit organization that goes around and to different schools and gives kids dental care that can't afford to. And so they've reached $1 million in care in 2017. I think they've been doing it for around 10 years. It's a cool project. Chad and his wife Lynn are going to be here on Saturday, so it'll be cool to have them here. He was a dentist and gave up his practice to do this, and there's only, I think, 4 or 5 people on staff. So it's a cool thing that Fifth Third is put together, and it's going to be cool to have them down here at the race on Saturday.
Good deal. Now, Ricky, you were our last Super Speedway winner when you won your first Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series race at Talladega in May. Can you talk about what it means coming into Daytona here this weekend and running on another Super Speedway?
Yeah, it's good. I think a lot of people asked if we were going to run the same car, but I talked Jack into giving me that one. So we got our backup car that we had at Talladega and worked on it. Jimmy Finning and the guys at the shop have been tuning on it, working on it, making sure that it was ready to go. And in practice today, I felt like it was pretty good handling. We did a single car run by ourselves and felt like it was pretty strong there as well. So hopefully we can repeat what we did at Talladega. I feel like we got the cars and the equipment to do it, and I think Doug's built a lot of great horsepower. Us Fords got lined up together there during practice, and we all felt like we had really good speed together. And the way these speedway races and stages play out, you definitely can, work with a manufacturer with as many Fords as we have, and get a good game plan together and see if we can't put another Ford in victory lane. I really hope it's ours, though.
Cool. With that, we'll open it up for questions. If you have a question for Ricky, please raise your hand, and we'll get a wireless mic to you. Start here in the front with Chair.
Jerry Jordan, KickingTheTires.net and PRN. At just barely almost 30, you're still kind of a young guy here, the last of the under 30s, so to speak. What do you think of the this newer generation coming up and the future with those guys?
It's good. I think we're in a good place. I think there's a lot of us that go out and drive really hard and want to get everything that we can out of our race cars, and still have a lot to prove. There was a few of us that have gotten our first wins finally this year, and I think that's cool. I know that there's just like myself, you win one and you want to win more. You got to win more to keep proving that you're meant to be here and you're supposed to be here. So we feel like us as a team feel like we're supposed to be here and supposed to contend for wins, and we're getting better every week. But I know the other guys are feeling just the same. So it's a good group of guys. I think everybody's we all get along, and we're all quite a bit different. We all got our things that were different, but I think it's a good mixture.
We'll go to Nate, then to Holly.
Nate Ryan, NBC Sports. Ricky, Kurt Busch was in earlier, and he was talking about how with the amount of playoff points Martin Truex Jr. has accumulated, he can pretty much, like, as Kurt put it, lollygag all the way to the season finale. He's got as many playoff points as you do, 5. When you look at the current layout of how things are setting up for the last 10 races, is there a sense of, well, it's great we're in the playoffs, but on the other hand, we've still got a lot of work to do to catch up with guys like Truex and Larson and Johnson?
Yeah, that's exactly it. I think it's nice to have the win, and technically I would say we're not even locked in right now. You never know how many winners you can have. So I mean, we're continuing to push to make sure we stay up in points. But then again, you got to think about the playoffs and think about how far you're behind to start the playoffs. So, you definitely want to be able to get more stage points, but I think that's a difficult thing to do with, I feel like Martin and Kyle and those guys are taking them all. So, they're doing what they need to do. That's definitely going to be a lot easier chase for them, a lot easier playoff. A couple catastrophic things could maybe put a potential hurt on them, maybe round 2. But, it's definitely a priority of us to try and get stage wins. I think here at Daytona is a good place for us to get, play a little strategy to try and get a stage win when it comes down to it. And then, trying to put ourselves in position for a win and, gain another 5 points. So, I think if we got to prioritize this weekend, it'd probably be the win and go ahead and get 5 more points versus setting yourself up for, a stage 2 win and only getting a point. So, it's definitely a concern of ours, something that we've been talking about. You can't really just go out and get stage wins without having a really good car. So that's what we've been focused on at our place, is just trying to make our cars better where we're capable of going out and winning stages.
We'll go in the front to Holly.
Thank you. Holly Kane, NASCAR.com. Here, Ricky. I wanted to ask you, several drivers have been commenting on how hot it is. Now, I'm a Floridian, so I know it's always like this, but does it feel like something that you feel will be any kind of a factor? Or because you guys race at night, it's obviously going to cool down? I mean, just a lot of people have commented about it today.
Yeah, it's funny. A lot of people that work out tend to, the ones that go out and work out a lot tend to be the ones that have the issues after the race. So I'm not real sure. I feel really good. I think it is hot. It's just different than Sonoma. Sonoma's hot temperatures but dry, and here it's pretty humid. In Mississippi, where I grew up, it was really humid, just real similar. So I'm used to it. I enjoy the heat. I think it makes for better racing. I think the tires fall off more, and this race, a couple of times that we've had to run it in the day has been pretty tough on as far as handling and setups go. I think inside the car we should be fine.
Go in the middle here, and then we'll go to Caleb, and we'll go to Don.
Matt Corson with the RacingExperts.com, kind of after what Holly was asking, but do you approach this race any different with the race being at night and the other 3 tracks during the day?
Not really. I think there's tendencies that Daytona has, when the sun does go down, that you adjust for setup-wise. It's definitely different than the 500. But, the temperatures are hotter in July, than February. So, sometimes it races real similar to the 500, just with the temperature difference. But, no, we don't really do much different. Change our shield. Run a clear shield instead of a tinted one. That's about it.
Caleb, go ahead in the back.
Caleb Whistler, Speedway Digest. Could you assess the first 16 races of the season, and what would you like to see in yourself in the team as far as improvements for the rest of the season?
Yeah, for us, we haven't been to as many short tracks here lately, but I felt like that was a strong suit if I look back at the first 16 races. And ironically, that hasn't been one of, I feel like Roush Fenway's strong suit over the years. So I've enjoyed going to those tracks. And then, we definitely know we need to get better on the 1.5 mile tracks. I think we've made a little bit of progress, but not as much as we would have liked to. The Pocono, we got our best finish. Michigan, we got our best finish that we've had there. So that's good momentum for us. Dover was a really good racetrack, running third when we blew our right front tire. So, I think since our win, we've had some decent races, just not as strong as what we've wanted. But Sonoma was a race last weekend that I thought we had better speed than we normally do. We didn't get to capitalize on that, but I'm looking forward to what's next in the season, going back to some of these tracks for the second time to make sure that, what we're working on is, paying off and kind of gauging ourselves if we're getting better or not. But, I've been pretty happy with the first 16 races. Looking forward to getting back to some of these short tracks.
We'll go to Don, and then we'll go to Hill.
Ricky, Don Coble from the Florida Times Union. Two quick questions. Number one, I know you're wearing shorts. Are you done for the day?
I'm done for the day.
Okay. And number two, Kurt doesn't have his car because it's on display.
Oh, yeah.
You got your
I'd,
car.
I'd like to trade with him.
But isn't it kind of weird that arguably the two best plate cars of the year aren't even being used this weekend?
Well, I think it's not odd. I think back in the day it would be odd, or it'd be different. I feel, 15 years ago you would take our Talladega car and fix it and put it back together. But these teams, I know what processes Roush Fenway goes through to build these cars. White light scan. There's so much data that we have to build our cars exactly the same. So we felt like our backup car was identical, and we were able to make some improvements and some updates since Talladega, and we feel good with what we got here. So I think all the teams are really confident in building cars, identical to what they feel is the best.
As one quick follow-up, is it fair to assume that this car, while it's very close to being the same, but it's already been like you said, upgraded? It's a newer thing. Do things evolve that quickly in just a matter?
Oh yeah, things evolve really quickly. I think there's times that normally you have a 1.5 mile backup car in your trailer, and it's a backup car that you use throughout the year, and there's times that your backup car could be well behind the car that you have as your primary car, and so a lot of times that's why you don't want to have to get out your backup car, but you update your backup car quite a bit as well. But I mean, we go to the next Michigan. We just got done at Michigan. You go to the next Michigan, and if you're bringing the same car back to Michigan 2 that you had at Michigan 1, you're probably going to be behind, and that's something that we fought last year at Michigan. We qualified in the top 10, and then we go back to the second Michigan with the same car and qualified 26th. So you're definitely looking to, keep evolving your cars week to week.
We'll go to Hill, and then we'll go to Dustin.
Thank you. Over here, Ricky. Hill Overton, WNDB Radio. You've made some leadership changes over at Roush Fenway. Tommy Wheeler, for example, coming into the racing role there. To what do you attribute the improved performance overall for your team this year, and the fact that you, of course, won your race and the overall performance, you guys have just ramped it up? How do you account for that over the past few seasons? But you're much better.
Yeah, it's been a long work in progress. I think we've moved people in and out of positions. Tommy's been with us for a long time. He's in a little bit different role now, but we've just moved people around until we kind of found the right pieces to the puzzle and put them in the right places. So I felt moving Nick Sandler, that was my crew chief for the last 2 years, over head of our engineering department. I think he's done a really, really nice job there, knowing what the teams were struggling with, and then things that he was asking the engineering department to do that maybe he wasn't getting done. So now that he's in that position, he knows what he needs to do. And then bringing Brian Patty over to my team, I think is definitely helped. We feel like we speak the same language. We got a lot of right people in the right places. Moving Mike Kelly in charge of a lot of our aero stuff. I think he works really, really hard to see this company move forward. He's been with Jack a long time, and then like they mentioned earlier, Jimmy Fenning's running our Speedway program. He can focus on that, and I think that our Speedway program's picked up. So it's just a lot of people that we've had, just more putting them less in the right positions.
We'll go to Dustin in the middle.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Had a couple different things I wanted to ask you about. I know Kyle Larson won one of the sprint car races in your sprint car. First of all, will he run in your car anymore this year? He had that recent streak of where he's won a bunch. How significant is that? Because I think some people figure he's probably in some of the better cars. He probably should go out and win these things. And is his success making it easier for you to ask to get permission to get back and drive some sprint cars yourself?
Yeah, I drove a sprint car race last weekend, and then I think Jack asked Steve Newmark about it afterwards. think I might need to get permission now. So I just kind of went and did that. But I think I think it's been a long time since I've been, really racing sprint cars. But I thought when I was racing sprint cars quite often, 2011, 2012, I thought just really kept you sharp. Even though we race every weekend, we're not in the cars that often. I feel like the practices are fairly short sometimes. You learn a lot in the races and you're in, but then you're out until, the following Friday. So it's nice to be able to go get in a car or, go-karts or really anything. I'm not sure if Kyle's going to run anymore in our car. He's got a lot of his races already lined up, and that was just one that happened to fall at a time that we could run up and go do that. And it was cool to work on the car and have him run that and win was really neat. But him being in good cars, there's a lot of people. I feel like across the board in sprint car racing, there's a lot of really good equipment. I think a lot of the equipment's fairly similar. So I think what he does in sprint cars is pretty magnificent. It's been a while since I've ran week to week in a sprint car, but he's put a nice schedule together where he can do that. I talked about hiring him full time, but I don't think I can pay that. But he would probably do it.
I also want to ask you is track positioning, with obviously here being more of a narrow course than at Talladega. So can you give me a sense of, I guess, a general mindset or what your mindset is, kind of where you want to be, what you're thinking about as you get closer? Is it 50 laps in, you're 50 laps to go, you're more worried about it, or how's your mindset in terms of track positioning toward the end?
Yeah, it's kind of similar. What I was referencing to Nate is, you want to win a stage, but I feel like the 5 points at the end of the race is more important, and to get another win. You might try to set yourself up for the first stage win, and then really after the first stage, it's all about where can I position myself to be at the front, from really then on. You don't really want to have to move yourself up through the field. It's really difficult to do. The cars drive, I would say, fairly good. So there's, you're 2 and 3 wide, mainly 3 wide, and it's kind of a parking lot sometimes when you find yourself in, 15th and can't get into the top 10. If you can keep yourself really inside the top 10, that's what you're looking for the last, like you said, 50 laps of the race. And definitely you got to set yourself up to, gain, especially if it's a green flag pit stop. You got to make sure that you can take advantage of, there's cars pitting, and if you end up staying out with a group of cars, you just want to make sure you don't have to check up coming off of turn 4 with other cars pitting, because that's where you can lose a lot of time, a lot of track position. So green flag pit stops are tricky, and I think the way our races have been, it could come down to who executes on a green flag pit stop correctly, and what teams work with which teams together to make sure they get in and back out in the most efficient time, because that's generally who cycles out to be the leader. And it's just, there's a lot of moving parts that I think go into it, but definitely 50 to go, you want to be inside the top 10 and try to stay there.
Anything additional for Ricky? Ricky, thank you for stopping by.
Thank
and
you.
Just so you guys know, Barb from Fifth Third Bank will be available if you guys want to ask her questions about the contest that they ran. Thank you, guys.